All right, so I'm going to try to keep my promise here, and we're going to start doing instructional for the Great Battles of the American Civil War from GMT. I'm going to be using the 2019, the Living Rules, which you can get them from the GMT website. You can download them. I think they're the same rules that came in Death Valley. I'm going to be using a map and a chart from the Death Valley box because it's the most current one. I know Into the Woods is going to be coming out here soon. But I thought we'd take a shot at this, and we're going to start with something simple. We'll start with the command system, which would be Section 4 or Chapter 4 in the book. Will I get everything right? Don't know. But I know there's some people out there. I know of at least 3 names out there that will slap me upside the head and tell me I got something wrong in the explanation here. But we're going to give it a shot. And if I get it wrong, or if you are confused about something I say, or just need some clarification, give me a comment down there so that I know what to address when I follow up. And while you're thinking about it, smack that darn like button and subscribe if you like this stuff. Subscribe and hit the bell so you can keep updated as I do these. Now, of course, I will have to judge how much of this I do by how much interest there is in it, because this is kind of tedious to go through and make sure that I get the rules right. And I don't mind doing it, but I've got to read and read and read just to make sure I got something right and that I wrote it down right. And I don't want to sit here and read through the rule booklet, because any of us can do that. So I want to try to get you to be able to play with as much basic sentencing as I possibly can. All right. So we pulled one of the cards out, and this is actually for the Battle of 3rd Winchester. And we are going to be focusing on, for this game, we're going to use Sheridan as the overall commander. All right. We're going to focus on the 19th Corps, which Emory is the Corps commander. And then we're going to use one of his division commanders, which is Dwight, and his 2 brigades. So we're just going to be focusing right here in this area, right here. All right. Hope y'all can see that. All right. On the map, you're going to see we have efficiency markers, which we will talk about. We have activation markers for the 1st Division of the 19th Corps. You'll notice there's 4. That's the maximum. We have Sheridan, the overall commander. We have Emory, the Corps commander for the 19th Corps. We have Dwight, who is the 1st Division commander of the 19th Corps. And then we have, McMillan and Davis are the 1st Brigade and the 2nd Brigade of the 1st Division of the 19th Corps. And I've just pulled 4 regiments out from each. I don't know what battlefield this map is. It's on the other side, Port Republic, so it's probably the Port Republic battle, I guess. But I just pulled out 4 regiments from each so we can get an idea. All right, so let's start with Chapter 4 of the command system. All right, so your levels of command in the game, and in most of the great battles of the American Civil War games, are Army, or overall, Corps, Division, Brigade. All right, and chain of command works downhill. All right. All right, so let's talk about your overall commander, the Army commander, which in this case is Sheridan. All right, he has, any Army commander over, they'll have 4 stars, okay? For an Army commander, he'll have 4 stars. You have some games where your overall commander is not an Army commander, like I think 1st Kernstown, Jackson. I think he's just a division commander, and he's got a few brigades on the map, but he's also the overall commander. And your scenario rules will explain that, okay? All right, so we have Sheridan's the overall commander / Army commander. He's got 4 stars. And the AS at the bottom, I think that's for the Army of the Shenandoah or something like that. All right, but he has 2 ratings on there. He has a 2 and then he has a 10. All right. The 2 is his initiative rating. The first segment of any game turn is determining the initiative. So, and that's where you roll a dice. All right. 1 for the Confederacy, 1 for the Union. That initiative rating can be added to the die roll to affect the initiative. So if you add that to the die roll, he rolls a 4. You add that, that 4 becomes a 6. And what initiative does is it just sets the tone for the first activation that can happen. Whoever wins the initiative, they'll be able to choose an activation marker, and that unit will start the turn, or that activation will start the turn, and then every activation after that is drawn from a cup, blind drawn from a cup. All right. He can also use that efficiency to increase core efficiency. All right. For each number he has up here, he can increase one core and give them one additional activation. All right. If that core commander, which would be Emery, is within the 10 movement point command range of Sheridan. All right. So what that's going to mean is if Emery's core has an efficiency, which will be one of these over here, let's say of 2, Sheridan can use one of those points and increase his efficiency to 3. All right. So that you understand what efficiency is, before we go any farther, you have a phase where you draw these. All right. Each scenario will tell you how many of each type of these you get, and then you'll put them in a cup. And then you will draw. So since we're only going to be working with Emery, we will only draw 1. So let's say we reach in here and we draw a 2. All right. And of course, you state before you draw for which unit you're drawing this efficiency. All right. So Emery has a 2. That's his base efficiency for his core, which means that without any changes, every division in his core would get 2 activations this turn. So it's like, they get 2 movement/combat segments each turn, okay? All right. Sheridan, if Emery is within command range of Sheridan, Sheridan can increase his activations from 2 to 3 for his core. And if he had another core, since he has a 2, if there was another core that was within his command range, he could increase that core's efficiency up 1 number. Efficiency maximum is 4, minimum is 1. Always keep that in mind. You always at least get 1, but you can never get more than 4. Okay, and you got to remember too in this game, so Sheridan, if you're playing the Union in this game, you are Sheridan. They don't really have a major effect on the battle, just a couple little things they do, okay? And that's one of them. Initiative rating, die roll increase, and they can increase the efficiency of cores that are within, the core commanders are in range, okay? All right, and remember the command range in this game for any unit, so they all have the black circle with a white number in it for command range. Every leader does. That's in movement points, not in hexes. And believe me, you can pay a price when you start getting down to the brigade level, okay? All right, so let's move on to the core commanders. All right, core commander in this case is Emery, and he's got 3 stars, all right? His efficiency rating will adjust his division's efficiency. Well, guess what? Emery's a -1. So let's say that Sheridan did not increase his efficiency. Let's get Sheridan out of the way. Say he's out of command from Sheridan. All right. So he drew that 2. Well, guess what? His efficiency would actually become a 1. So his units would only get 1 activation because of his -1. Unless that'll be with division. We'll get that later. So him being a -1, his efficiency rating would adjust the division's efficiency from a 2 to a 1. Okay? And that's going to be any division that is within his command range. All right? If they're not within his command range, so let's say Dwight is within Emery's command range. Well, Dwight's not going to get 2, he's going to get 1. But let's say his other division is outside his command range, they will get the 2. But since they're out of command, they're going to end up getting 1 anyhow. So keep that. That's probably the most awkward part of this and not all the division leaders are like that. Emery was just skittish as could be, not sure what to do, and didn't want to give up his troops or nothing. So he has a bad rating for that. I probably should have used somebody else, but just keep in mind that, the core commander. The core commander has a -1 efficiency rating. So that means that 2 becomes a 1 for his core. All right. If the efficiency rating is a 2, or let's say the efficiency rating, let's say that 1 is a +1, or just a regular 1 or a 2, then he can increase 1 division. He can increase their activations. Let's say if he was a 2 here, he can increase 1 division's activations by 2 if the division is within command range, or he could increase, let's say, 2 divisions by 1 if they were within his command range. All right. But he's a -1, so he's not helping anybody. If the let's see, yeah, if the efficiency rating on a corps commander is negative, all divisions within his command range automatically get their activations reduced by that number. So every division, Dwight, if he was in command range of Emory, he's going to lose one activation. Okay, and that's how that number works. You don't change up here. The base is still 2. So what happens is Dwight, instead of getting 2, he would get 1 activation marker. So this being your activation markers, instead of him getting 2 of those, you would take 1 and put it in the cup. And remember, you can always, it's minimum of 1. You always get at least 1 activation, which would kind of stink. You want 2 or even 3 for the most part. And also, any division leader that is not within command range of their corps commander, their division is going to lose 1 anyhow. All right. Yeah. Do I have that happen? Yeah, I've had that happen a couple times. Just keep in mind that when you check the chain of command, it's near the start of each turn. Whatever that is, when you check, it remains that way for the rest of the game turn until it comes all the way back around to the next game turn and you check it again. So if a unit is in command during that phase, no matter where he moves, he stays in command for that whole turn. Okay? All right, let's move on to the division leaders. Division leaders are 2 stars, okay? And they have 3 numbers on the right side. The first one is your brigade coordination. This allows you to coordinate and combine brigades into 1 activation. All right? So let's say you wanted Davis and McMillan's brigades to work together like they were 1 brigade. Because when you play the game and you activate a division, you start with 1 unit from a brigade and you do the movement, fire, whatever. Then you go to the next unit, you move and fire. Your next unit, you move and fire. Next unit, you move and fire. And then when they're done, they do shock combat. And then you go to the next one and you start the same process. Well, brigade coordination allows you to move, shoot, shoot or move, shoot, depending on what orders you've got them under, whether it's attack or advance or whatever. And then you will do these guys the same way, and then you'll save shock combat for the end, and you'll do all of them. So you're simply just making both of these brigades operate as 1. All right? Keep that in mind. That's brigade coordination. So Dwight's brigade coordination is a 0. Well, when you roll the die roll on a brigade coordination table, he doesn't get any modifiers because he's a 0. You got some leaders out there that are pluses, and you got some that are minuses. Okay? So good luck getting brigade coordination on a leader that has a negative. Command range, obviously the second number. All right, the activation rating. This adjusts the number of activations that the division gets regardless of whether it's in command or out. Okay? Of course, if they're out, they're going to lose 1 anyhow. But poor Dwight, he's got a -1. Well, you can't go below 1. So he's automatic. If Emory's corps has an efficiency of 4, Dwight's already going to give up 1 because he's a -1. All right. So keep that in mind. Like I say, regardless of where they are on the map, from that base efficiency, he's going to cost them 1 activation. So he's already going to be at 1 anyhow. So really, it's not going to go any lower. Okay. Okay. So remember activations. The maximum is 4. The minimum is 1. Out of command division leaders, the maximum number of activations an out of command division leader can have is 3. Okay. Combat ineffective division, which you'll get to that later on. The maximum activations they can have in a turn is 2, and they cannot do any brigade coordination. All right, so keep that in mind. All right, let's move to the heart and soul of this, the brigade leaders. All right, your brigade leaders. So we have McMillan and we have Davis. 1 star. All right. By the way, these stars, when you're trying to rally a disrupted unit, you get a die roll. If the leader's with the unit, that 1 star, you get a die roll modifier where you take 1 off the die roll. 2 for a division, 3 for a corps. All right, so brigade leaders, action profile. They have a letter, N and N. There's 4 letters, A, N, C, and U. A is for an aggressive leader. N is just for your normal, everyday average leader. C is for a cautious leader. And U is for an unreliable leader. All right, that letter affects your brigade change orders and your shock combat. So if an aggressive leader is stacked with a unit that is shock combating, or melee as we used to call it, he's going to get a plus modifier because that leader is aggressive. Okay? Cautious or normal is not going to do anything for you. I don't know what the others are. I rarely get that. Excuse me. And also during you have 2 orders change phases. You have the division orders change, which is near the start of the game turn, where you can change the orders of all your brigades from advance to attack, or attack to advance, or from advance into march, or attack into march, or from, well, you can't do it march. You do that during the march turn, march activation. But where so let's say that this guy here was an advance, Dwight Davis's brigade was in advance orders, and you didn't change them in the division order segment. So now their brigade, they activate, and you say, oh man, I need to get him into attack orders. Well, you can do a brigade change orders, and there's a table you roll on, and then whatever that modifier is in that bottom right-hand box, you can add that to the die roll. All right. So it might be a plus, might be a minus. I know the majority of them are just zeros. So neither one of these guys can affect their brigade change order. They got to take whatever the dice gives them. I'm not sure what other modifiers there are. That's pretty much it. All right, so movement allowance for leaders. Army overall and Corps can move up to 40. Now, we won't talk about I'm going to frog in my throat tonight. We won't talk about the effects of their movement if you move over 10. But if you move these guys, either one of these guys, more than 10 movement points, their abilities get reduced. How they can affect things gets reduced for the following turn, which, yeah, so because the commander, and they can only move during commander movement phase, the corps and army commanders, and that comes at the end of a game turn pretty much. So that whole entire next turn, they're going to get reduced abilities on how they affect things. Take a drink of something here. If they move 10 movement points or less, then they have their full abilities for the next turn. Division and brigade leaders. So they activate, or they move whenever their activation comes up. Division leader moves when the division's activated, and the brigade leaders move as their brigade units move. And they only have a movement allowance of 10 movement points. They don't get any of that 40 stuff. Because I think a lot of the times, maybe not the division leader, but the brigade leaders were probably on the ground with the troops that got off their horse. So, all right, so that takes care of that. Replacement leaders. So if you flip, let's say Emery gets killed, you flip him over, and Dwight takes command. Well, you have Dwight right there. So Dwight's got to be replaced. So he gets replaced with McMillan. Well, now McMillan's moved up to the division. He's got to be replaced. So you flip him over. Now Thomas is in command. All right. Some units don't have the replacements, but it's usually the reverse side of the unit is the next one in the chain of command to replace them. And that's how that goes. All right. Remember that chain of command works downhill. All right. Overall, or army commander to corps commander to division commander to the brigade leaders, and then the brigade leaders to their regiments. Okay. Command status is only checked once. I already told you that. So when you do, I think it's phase 2A, when you do your chain of command check, whatever status a unit, a leader is in during that check, they remain that way for the remainder of that game turn. You will find, and I've learned now, you've got to keep these regiments close to their brigade commander. You've got to keep those, most of these divisions have 2, 3, like I know the Confederate divisions average 4 brigades to a division. And some of them have 5, like in Gettysburg, Anderson has 5 brigades. Well, you've got to keep all of those brigade commanders within command range of that division leader. And then you need to keep that division leader in command range of that corps commander. And if a corps commander is weak and his command range isn't very big, which most of them are they're like borderline. I think in Gettysburg, AP Hill's a 7. So 7 movement points now. So you've got Heath, Pender, and Anderson. You're trying to keep all those division commanders within 7 movement points of AP Hill. Well, it's kind of hard if you don't keep all those units real close together. And I'm learning that the chain of command is very, very important at this game, in this game. So keep that in mind when you're playing to monitor how you move your brigades in association with where the division commander is, and how you move that division in association with where that corps commander is, and along with the other divisions in that corps, because the corps commander won't move till the end of the turn. So you're going to end up trying to move him into a position where he can reach both or all 3 of his divisions. And if you don't pay attention to what you're doing, you'll get somebody out of command and you'll be sacrificing. All right, last but not least, regiments in a daisy chain. So Davis has a command range of 4, all right? He's got a brigade. Oh, by the way, any unit that is next to its superior leader is considered in command. All right, so his movement allowance is 4. So through clear terrain, we'll just say it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So any unit in this hex would be in command of him, all right? But if he was back here, 5 away, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he would be out of command. And yes, you have out of command markers. You would end up putting it on that regiment. You can have an individual unit that's out of command, all right? If this brigade leader is out of command of his division, you put an out of command marker on him. But all his regiments might be within his command range. They wouldn't be out of command, okay? Now, this is the daisy chain rule. So let's say this regiment's sitting here. 1, 2, 3, 4. He is within command range. Since that regiment is adjacent to this in-command regiment, he is now considered in command. And it would be the same if this guy was sitting back here in the woods. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4 to him, and those 2 are adjacent, so they are now in command. All right, that's just, I guess, normally you'll have them on the battlefield. They'll be, in a line. Yeah, don't mind my facing. That's not proper facing for these formations, unless they're in march order. So most of the time they're going to be like that. And, he hits one of them and then it just sort of passes down the line. So, this one moves. Of course, most of the time anyhow, when one would pull out from one end, it'd be a second and then that one follows. So you kind of have that, like they refer to as that echelon, that echelon, one moves, then that one moves, then that one moves, that kind of thing. So, yeah, the daisy chain thing, believe me, that's going to play a key role, because I found a lot of times having, this leader out here on this end regiment, and he might have 3 or something, because that division leader's sitting over here somewhere, but he can command all of those now. So, of command, believe me, it's really, I'll miss it sometimes when I'm trying to determine, how many AMs. So, like, let's say Dwight here, he's going to lose 1. So, the base efficiency was 2. He would end up just taking 1 activation marker and it would go in the cup, because then you'll blind draw through the entire game turn until all the activation markers are done, except for that first one, which is the one by initiative. So keep that in mind. You blind draw your efficiency markers. Like I say, you say, okay, I'm going to be doing Emery with this draw. You reach in your cup, you pull out a chit, and you put it on there, and that's Emery's efficiency. And then you make your adjustments through the divisions afterwards, okay? All right. So if I missed something or I got something a little screwed up, somebody drop me a comment down there and let me know. If this is working for you, give me a like, drop a comment. Especially if you want me to keep going, because activations will probably be next. I'll be moving on to that. I'm not going to cover every chapter in the rules booklet, but I figure I'm probably going to we'll do command, we'll do probably activations, we'll probably summarize movement, we'll summarize fire combat, we'll summarize shock combat, and maybe we'll go into things like combat ineffectiveness and rally and stuff at the end of that. I'm not real big on the cavalry charge stuff, but we might include that as part of shock combat. But like I say, I'm not going to go front to back. I'm just going to pick out the rules that are necessary to get you playing or to help you play, and try to stay away from the stuff that just makes you think too damn hard. All right, so like I say, if you enjoy this stuff, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. If you want to keep up to date with the next ones I do, hit subscribe, hit update, and you'll get notified as I create them. All right, gang, we'll get this posted as fast as we can. Thanks.